Good morning, Sean here. It is 8:36. It's time for the Revelstoke Mayor Report with Mayor Gary Sauls. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning, Sean, and happy Valentine's Day, and happy Valentine's Day to everyone in the community.
Absolutely. Happy V-Day, and don't spread the word. Okay, want to hear something quickly? I went into the thrift store, or I was going to drop some stuff off at the thrift store a couple weeks ago, and you know when you back up, if no one's there, there's a table there, and people pile their boxes up. There was some books on that table, and one of the books had a Sasquatch on the cover, which caught my eye because I'm a huge believer in the Sasquatch. Okay?
There we go.
I was looking closer at it, and it was an erotic Sasquatch book.
Oh my God.
A lady wanders into the woods and meets Sasquatch. I don't need to get into details, but you could figure out the rest. And I should have taken it because it would be very good to read at a party.
There we go. Absolutely.
Happy Valentine's Day, Sasky. Do you want to touch into anything first, or do you want me to just ask my first question?
Well, you do your first question, and then we'll roll into the rest of the stuff.
I just want to touch briefly on remunerations. Where are we at with it, and what happened at council with Cody?
Okay, so Councillor Juncker brought it back as a special motion to pull it from the budget. There was lots of discussion around the table. End result is, yes, it's pulled. There will be no remuneration increases for council at this point. Councillor Juncker's motion was to hold it off until 2022. Any council member can bring that forward at another time, including Councillor Juncker if he wanted to. What's going to happen is it's going to go back to staff. They're going to put some things together and come up with some industry standards, and at some point we'll deal with that issue again. So that's where we're at. But right at this point, nobody needs to be worrying about this.
All right, can's been kicked.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what's on your cheat sheet there?
Well, I will say that this past week, negotiations were completed with CUPE. It's been ratified by CUPE and the city, so they've got their contract. Our CAO and CUPE will come out with a joint news bulletin when they've got it all together and explain the details. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that's happened this week. Wayfinding strategy has been progressed forward, and so those who haven't been out of town, there are new entrance signs on both the east and west entrance, and so it's kind of nice to see that theme, and we'll move forward with that.
Now, just to touch base quickly on that, the wayfinding strategy wasn't done by the city of Revelstoke. It was contracted out through with RMI dollars, to my understanding.
That through Cygnus Designs.
Right.
And they came up with something that seemed to work with everybody who sat on that committee. They went out to the community, got input, and came up with something that seems to be a great fit. So,
and it's a strategic plan. They did this in Whistler and other areas, and they focus on really exactly what it is, wayfinding strategies, focusing on downtown Calgary, areas in which people get confused and lost.
Absolutely. And so signs through the community, and those will be changed, and it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be over
the 10 years thing seems pretty long.
Yeah.
Right by the time we get it completed, Gary, we're going to rebrand the town.
Well, maybe. We'll call it, I don't know, Seanville or something, right?
What a neat idea.
There we go. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about short-term rentals. So June 2017, we're expecting a report back from city managers dealing with short-term rentals or vacation rentals, and with staffing changes in capacity and whatnot, nothing had ever come forward. So we dealt with that in some degree on a discussion paper yesterday in Committee of the Whole. So it was talked about how we move forward and in which way, and all kinds of discussion as to how to deal with a lot of that stuff. So we've now started it back into dealing with the meat and potatoes of that whole short-term rental thing, and staff will make some recommendations to us as we move forward. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a complex thing, and but just know that it's not on the back burner. It's actually being worked on.
Now, with the term short-term rentals or vacation rentals in air quotes, we're specifically talking about not those that are registered and pay the taxes based on it. We're talking about houses that are acting as that but not paying their fair share. Is this what I'm gathering?
That's part of it.
Okay.
But it's part of planning the community where they're going to be allowable short-term rentals, and then under which consideration. Is it going to be zoning? Is it zoned for it? Are there already ones? So there's a really complex issue. Some things are, as you say, the ones that aren't registered. We'll be dealing with that first, and then we'll talk about neighborhoods and capacity and those sorts of things and dealing with that. And when we talk about short-term rentals, it's kind of 30 days and under. That's kind of what we're talking about.
Okay.
Right? So just so you're aware, and then how does that work in the neighborhood and capacity in the community, that sort of thing.
Now, in the past, people have proposed or asked to be vacation rental property owners. And a lot of the times the neighborhood will come out and they're against it for obvious reasons. Now, I don't know how this could work, but generally from what I've learned or understood, and I could be wrong on this, but I'm to the understanding that I'm just going to use myself as an example to be clear or fair. And I'm not doing this, so this is just as an example.
Okay.
Sean and Kirsten want to go and turn their home into a vacation rental. But once, and let's say that you guys approve it, and now my property is indefinitely vacation rental, and then I sell it to someone else and they can then vacation rental. Is there a way to have it where myself and my wife are the title holders of the vacation rental upon a yearly renewal, and if I were to sell that property, then the vacation rental is null and void and it goes back to what it is?
Yeah, then that's what we're looking at.
Okay.
So it's not going to be just based on having a special vacation rental zoning where now it's zoned for vacation rental in perpetuity. It'll be based on zoning for the overall neighborhood, and then everyone will have to have a business license.
Okay.
And so that business license is what entitles people to do a vacation rental, and there'll be limitations and rules within that business license as to how that operates. And then we're also talking about a good neighborhood plan so that all of these things will fit together. So when I say it's complex, it's not just going to be cut and dried, okay, yeah, you meet the criteria, here's your business license. There'll be all kinds of things to come in before we even get to that point. So that's kind of what we're at. And then there will be enforcement as well.
Okay. That makes some sense. I am not doing vacation rental. It was simply an example.
Awesome. Good. We talked a little bit about the OCP visioning process, and we've agreed as to how we word some of the things, and it'll be a little more concise wording going forward. And then we will go back out to the community and say, this is what we heard you say, and just confirm that what we heard is really what they want. Not too much change from what we have now, but it's definitely moving forward, and there'll be some neighborhood plans and whatnot within that thing. So we're excited about that. We spoke a little bit. We had BC Housing yesterday John Purdy from BC Housing come to talk about the Begbie School site. And so they're going to have an engagement with the community on February 27th at the community center, I think MP3 room from 5 to 7. They're looking for community people to come out and say, hey, this is what we think we should have there as far as densification and housing and that sort of thing. So we're interested in input and would like people to come and give their perspective.
Did John Purdy mention anything about the plans for Columbia Gardens and for
one of our councilors asked him about that, and it's not his forte. There'll be somebody else dealing with that.
Right.
We do know that some of the building permits and whatnot are coming forward, and they're going to plan some renovations come spring, get that stuff up and running. So,
a renovation, eh? Have fun.
Yeah, exactly. So, Art Ellery's project, we talked a little bit about that. Of course, art going down back alleys, so that's a nice way to decorate some of the things and draw some attention to our back alleys and to artists in the community. And as you know, you're involved with Shrek, so we're extremely impressed with what's happening there with live theater in the community, and that just kind of fits into the arts community. And I've yet to see the show. I get to see the show on Saturday, but I am so impressed with the fact that there's 100 people involved in this whole production, and it's local people putting on a wonderful show.
Yes, it's very excited, and we're very happy with the outcome of how Shrek has turned out. There was one thing I wanted to ask with the roundabout coming up down here at the Townley Roundley, which is the new official name. I wanted to propose an idea for the middle. Over here, we've got bushes, I think, in the
Yep.
what everyone dubs the McKee roundabout.
Okay.
So, or the McRoundy or whatever, as Peter Humphreys calls it. So I'm just thinking, I would like to propose this. We hire someone like Zoo, who's a wonderful artist in town, and that's just the first person I thought of, where we create something to do with a small version of a semi with logs and stuff like that. Make it like a little mini semi truck with logs or logging, something to do, because the mill's there, and it's been a pillar for our community. I think it would be some sort of hybrid between that and the railway crossing.
Well, that's great. Now the engineering department are already pulling their hair out. Thank you for that, Sean.
You're welcome.
Always some concerns about what we put in there for site, that sort of thing. But if somebody's got some ideas and if it fits with what the drawings are going to be, I can't condone or not condone things coming forward, because I think we would like to have some input from community, but also the main focus will be safety and putting something in that's not going to attract kids running across the street.
Well, that sounds fun, Gary.
Yeah, thanks.
The other option is we get Jeff Battersby back and we dip him into bronze and put him in the middle.
I don't think he's going to be happy about that, Sean.
All right, thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Gary.
Thank you.